Team USA has come out swinging in the World Baseball Classic.
Aaron Judge, the captain, sets the tone in Houston.
But tonight, their toughest test arrives, Mexico.
¡Vuela la pelota! ¡Vamos, pelota!
A team packed with MLB stars and the belief that they can beat anyone on this stage.
Alec Thomas squeezes the final out of a Team Mexico stunner.
Now, Team USA gets its shot at revenge. Two nations, one rivalry, and a score to settle. United States, Mexico, in the World Baseball Classic.
From Houston, Texas, welcome to the 2026 World Baseball Classic on Fox, presented by Capital One. And it's the matchup that everybody's waited for in Pool B. It is Team Mexico and Team USA. Both teams having taken care of business over the first couple of games against Brazil and Great Britain, both sitting at 2-0. And now Paul Skeens gets ready for his WBC debut. We welcome you inside with the Hall of Famer John Smoltz. I'm Joe Davis. So far, so good for Team USA. So far, as expected when you see this roster with Aaron Judge and the pitching that they have. The only expectation is that they win the whole thing. 2-0 in their first real test tonight.
March is usually reserved for March Madness basketball. It's baseball now, and this team is probably the best team I've seen in World Baseball Classic. They can hit. It's just a matter of when, and they're going to beat you offensively, but they're complete in their pitching as well. That's why I think they're the best team that's been assembled for them. And I think what they have done now is put themselves in an elite position. This game tonight's going to have so much adrenaline, so much attention to it, mainly because they've lost the last 3 games against Team Mexico.
Well, that's the thing. As impressive as Team USA has been, Team Mexico's been that impressive in their first 2 games, and they have had the U.S.'s number. USA has not beaten Mexico in the World Baseball Classic since the first one 20 years ago.
Yeah, and that goes a long way for Team Mexico. They feel like they can beat anybody. They're proud, they're confident, and they have the USA's number. So they know tonight's going to be raucous. And they've done very well against this team because they've scored runs and they've hit home runs. But this team is more complete than people are going to know going into this tournament. Tonight, the crowd, the atmosphere will be unlike any March baseball game you've ever seen.
Benji Gill played in a Game 7 for the Angels, said this is unique even to that, and it is revved up in here. Mexico and USA. The difference for the Americans this time, the caliber of pitching. Paul Skeens ready to go. Paul Skeens, who won Rookie of the Year in 2023 with a 1.96 ERA, and then Cy Young last year, unanimous with a 1.97 ERA. Now makes his WBC debut. Says he remembers watching the United States win the World Baseball Classic in 2017, and he said to himself then, if I ever have a chance, it's a no-brainer. I'm pitching for Team USA. And now what is more Team USA than having a former fighter jet pilot in training take the ball for the biggest game of their World Baseball Classic to this point?
Well, I love it, and if I love it, you can only imagine what his teammates love. The fact that he is willing to understand the mindset of this tournament and not get caught up in everything else that a lot of people get caught up in. He's dominant. He's proved to be healthy. He's probably going to be one of the best pitchers, if he stays healthy, we've ever seen. And you see the breakdown. Good luck trying to hit him, and the only thing that he can bring into the game is if he's not controlling the baseball, that's the only chance you've got really to get multiple hits off of him in an inning.
Some guys are big, some guys are accurate. He's got it all. He's 6'6", 260. He's got a tough angle for hitters to pick up. I mean, in a lot of ways, this is like the perfect pitcher.
No, it really is, and everybody's dreaming to get a guy like this on the staff where he throws upwards of 90s and then he has the breaking ball that sweeps all the way across the plate. But I think he's only going to get better because his changeup's going to get better. He's maturing in the league, but his mindset, I'm telling you, you're going to hear that a lot. You've got to have the right mindset to be an alpha on the mound and to take the ball in this part of his career in the WBC.
Something that he badly wanted. The Top Gun theme playing in the background as he gets ready to face off with his Team Mexico order that mercy ruled Brazil yesterday 16-0 in 6 innings. Jarren Duran had a home run in that game. Randy Arozarena always seems to rise to the occasion in the big games with Jonathan Aranda, Alejandro Kirk, both all-stars last year for the American League. Rowdy Tellez has a 32 home run season in his career. Nacho Alvarez at third base. Nick Gonzalez, Alec Thomas having a good tournament so far, and Joey Ortiz batting ninth. And they're asking Mark DeRosa before the game, well, what do you think about the way Benji Gill manages this team? And he seems to have a good pulse. DeRosa said, look, they're good. You look at the guys in the lineup, there's no secrets to why they're giving teams such a hard time.
Yeah, absolutely. And really the only hiccups for the Americans have been the first batter of the game. It's been a homer twice. So you know with the pitch limit, you know hitters are going to try to jump on as many fastballs they could see. And I would think that theme is very important for Team Mexico. In what a crowd, we're going to find out where the crowd split is. Some think it's going to be a little bit more Mexican bias, but we'll see.
Early indications are it is heavy Team Mexico in here. And Mark DeRosa told his club guys, prepared to feel like you're the road team, even with this game being played in Houston, Texas. Jarren Duran leads things off for Mexico. Dynamic outfielder for the Boston Red Sox. Paul Skeens ready to go. Through his wind, then off we go with a fastball that misses away, or a splitter that, look, it's all going to be pretty fast. 94, that power sinker of his. Then ball one on Duran. Duran homered and doubled yesterday, knocked in 3.
So the thing that most of these teams have to battle in this tournament is they see a lot of people they've never seen before. This is familiarity for a lot of this Team Mexico. They've seen Paul Skeens. So it'll come down to execution, taking advantage of a mistake.
Splitter changeup to start his day. Standing room only crowd watching Paul Skeens make his WBC debut. Biggest difference for this Team USA squad from the team that lost to Japan in 2023 in the championship. The caliber of starting pitching. You saw Skubal on Saturday, and now Skeens. Both Cy Young winners last year. 2-2 on Jarren Duran.
And that's the one thing when you're looking at your second, third start in spring training, fastball command. This is different because this is a tournament, and you're going to be just pumped up with adrenaline, and you hope it's not getting outside yourself.
Then for Paul Skeens, started having conversations with Mark DeRosa about a year ago, and if Aaron Judge is the position player pillar of this roster, everybody sees that he's on the team. They're going to follow. It was the same deal with Skeens. Once he signed up, a bunch of pitchers started to say, okay, wait a minute, Skeens is doing it. I want in too. Mark DeRosa said there was very little recruiting that had to go on this time. Fouled off. Skeens wrote a letter that was published in the Players Tribune today. He said, instead of saying I'm honored to represent my country, which everybody says, wanted to share why this is so important, why this means so much to wear this uniform. It's home with another 2-2. It's fouled into the glove for strike 3. He starts this game with a strikeout.
Well, the arm angle, the velocity, the movement. I mean, good luck, right? This is one of the elite pitchers in the game, and you just got to hope you guess right and guess the right location.
Do you think this next guy's fired up at all?
Oh, he is everything that this tournament is about.
That is Randy Arozarena. And, of course, he comes out of his shoes on a first pitch fastball. Arozarena, as Mexico made a run to the semifinal. And remember, in 2023, they had a lead in the 9th inning against Team Japan, that close to going to the championship. But Arozarena hit .450 in that tournament. 7 extra base hits. Big rip again, and it's 0-2.
You're going to hear me talk a lot during these games and tournaments about hitters and hitters timing, pitchers and pitchers timing. And I learned something today, asking a couple hitters something that I thought might be a problem that actually is a benefit. And that is, I think, when you're coming to spring training as a hitter, you're looking to get your timing. What does that mean? Your mechanics. Get your foot down. You want to time up the pitchers. The pitchers are ahead of the hitters, but they told me that a tournament like this would actually help them be more locked in at this time than not.
Chopper left side, Alex Bregman. 2 up and 2 down for Skeens.
Because typically you're just getting reps. You don't care about average, although you want to get hits in a spring training. You're working on your mechanics. You're working on going the other way. When you're in an environment like this, it's about execution. And so it locks you in. The dullness of spring training or the monotonous of spring training is gone. And some of the hitters, I really feel like they think this is better for them. And if you're a hitter in baseball, you want to play in an event like this during spring training is what I've been told.
Jonathan Aranda, bases empty, 2 gone in this first. All-star for the Tampa Bay Rays, takes strike 1 from Skeens. How about from a pitcher's side, though, because you have that careful build-up, and there's been much less eagerness from pitchers to get involved in this.
Yeah, and that's where your mindset's got to be different. That's why I love what he is approaching on the mound and Paul Skeens. Because let's face it, I'm not saying anything that's not out there that isn't true. We have an injury problem in our baseball pitchers, right? And so that just exasperates you thinking, oh, no, I don't want to be amped up now and play in a tournament like this. If you're under control and you're just doing the things you need to do, this is a great experience you'll never forget. But the but is if you get too amped up. Now, veteran players, that's why I'm impressed with a young player jumping to the forefront like Paul Skeens. If you're a veteran player, you know how to handle that already. You've been through the playoffs. You've been through the long season.
That's crazy. He's still just 23 years old, Paul Skeens, and you already kind of view him as a guy that has been there, done that, and carries the clout that he does. Falls behind Aranda, 3-1. Aranda, who's coming off a breakout season for Tampa Bay, hit .318 last year for the Rays. On 3-1. Take strike 2.
And what you do as a pitcher, knowing you're going to play in this, you anticipate, you get ready a little bit earlier. You don't have the luxury of saying, I'm going to work on my changeup this game, or I'm going to work on my slider. You have to get outs. So it puts you into that game mode a little bit earlier than maybe spring training would otherwise.
Skeens looking for a 1-2-3 first inning. His 3-2 is fouled off. Mark DeRosa, Benji Gill, both these managers saying they're feeling a little more comfortable this time around. Their first WBCs in 2023. Both said move kind of fast at times. Able to enjoy it a little bit more this turn. On the 7th pitch of the at-bat, a pop-up down the left field line. Bregman is over. Anthony's in, and Roman Anthony's got it to end the first inning. Paul Skeens goes 1-2-3. The U.S. comes to bat after this. For Team USA, it's the same group that they had in the first game of the WBC on Friday. Bobby Witt's back in there leading off, and then it's Harper and Judge with Kyle Schwarber from leadoff to clean up. Alex Bregman's at third base. The big dumpers back in doing the catching. Roman Anthony, Byron Buxton, and Bryce Terang. It's Manny Barreda. If there's a spot where Team Mexico is short, it's in the starting pitching. And so Barreda, who's 37 years old, has pitched in 3 games in the major leagues 5 years ago. A journeyman in Mexico gets the call in this game. They didn't know who it was going to be until they finished off yesterday's game and said, I think Manny's still available. We're going to send the veteran out there.
Well, both of these teams, if they win tonight, one of them's in. The other one has to win one more game, right? So there's so many complex formulas that come into this game, and run prevention is going to be a big one for Team Mexico and obviously Team USA. So look for Barreda to try to mix and match. He's not going to overpower you. He's going to try to change speeds.
Witt bounces the ball to third for Nacho Alvarez. Nacho's throw is in time to get Witt. One gone in this first inning, and Bryce Harper climbs in. Hard to believe, first time Bryce Harper has suited up for Team USA in the World Baseball Classic.
Yeah, well, that's part of the reason why I believe this is the best team that Team USA has fielded. I don't think people understand how much work goes into putting the team together. Conversations with players, with organizations, trying to get everything to fit in a box that is very difficult with the expectations to win it all. And Bryce Harper could be a huge piece to that if the Team USA does go on and win it.
A little bit outside, 1 ball, 1 strike. And Mark DeRosa talked about that. Yeah, he kind of along for the ride in 2023. This year, he really wanted to put together a well-rounded team. Of course, they're going to have the superstars in there. And when you look at the lineup initially, it was like these guys are going to hit 1,000,000 home runs and just bludgeon people. And yeah, they've won games by big scores, but the quality of at bat has been the bigger headline than the power. They've had 3 times as many walks as they've had strikeouts. Only 2 home runs the first 2 games. Harper with a half-hearted swing and a foul ball.
And I'm obviously living in Georgia, so does Mark. We play golf, and he's told me about the cohesiveness, how this team has come together and have bought in. I mean, there's some alpha males in that room, but they put their egos aside, and whatever it takes to win a championship, it's led by Aaron Judge, who's on deck, but, you know, Bryce Harper's not too far behind there.
On a 1-2 from Beretta. Harper pulls it down the line. Took a funny hop, but a good adjustment by Jonathan Aranda for out number 2. And there's Benji Gill, who's telling us that the atmosphere in 2023, when these teams faced off at Chase Field in Phoenix, he compared to that Game 7 that he was a part of in 2002 when he was playing for the Angels. Yeah, it is revved up, loud as it is. Aaron Judge stands in there. The captain of this Team USA club out in front of the first pitch. Went deep in his first at-bat on Friday night. He's 2 for 9 so far. The 0-1 to Judge. Pulled through the left side and a 2-out base hit. So Judge, the first base runner of the game.
You know, I got a chance to spend a lot of time around the cage today, and it's really one of the first times I've done it. We see Judge gets a ball out in front, gets base hit. Each one of these guys who are not teammates, they're the guy on their team. So when batting practice comes around, everybody looks to that guy. They're all in the same group trying to figure out how they can outdo each other. It's the most incredible scene when you see these guys taking BP. And Aaron Judge would come in and he goes, I got to follow that. Well, he would never say that in anything other situation. So it's pretty cool that everyone has come together. They're learning from each other. They're asking questions. They're engaged. And obviously they want the best at-bats they can get in this tournament for sure.
Kyle Schwarber, who is back with Team USA. He was with them the last World Baseball Classic and broke things loose with that long home run. Of course he did. It seems like anytime his team needs a big home run, he hits it, and it never just scrapes the wall.
No.
Here's the 2-0. Schwarber takes ball 3. Mark DeRosa said it's his chemistry guy. That everybody feels the pressure. We're talking about them all being alphas, but with that, they put on this uniform. Everybody feels the pressure, and Schwarber's the guy, DeRosa says, that takes that off everybody. Said even me. He'll come around, rub my shoulders every few innings. Schwarber's got to walk right here, and the U.S. has something brewing here with 2 out. Yeah, and it gets Alex Bregman to the plate. Here's that home run we were talking about on Saturday. It was a little tense in the middle part of that game against Great Britain, and Schwarber said, not so fast.
Yeah, 1-0, and start. You're never going to doubt this offense. It's just a matter of when. You know, they're seeing guys they haven't seen, and for the most part, now going forward, there won't be too many mismatches. And when I say by mismatches, there were guys on the mound that really had no chance against this lineup, and it proved it over time because they scored a ton of runs.
2 on, 2 out. Alex Bregman, who's back in Houston, where he spent the first 9 years of his career with the Astros. And has gotten good hands each time he's come up. You know, you got the big boppers throughout this lineup. Bregman, not the most imposing guy physically, but Mark DeRosa was talking about him today. He said, man, just the quality of at bat, even in a team of superstars, stands out.
Yeah, this guy is the most engaged, probably the most intense on wanting to be the best player on the field every single game. And everywhere he's been, he hasn't been to a ton of teams, but the teams he's been, everyone talks about his impact, his influence, and his detail to everything that he does, including when Mark DeRosa said, man, you squared up 4 balls the other night. He goes, no, 5.
Don't sell me short. He's got Judge at second, Schwarber at first. U.S. trying to crack through here in the first inning. Bregman takes a 6th consecutive ball from Beretta. And this has been the personality of this American lineup so far. Something Bregman has always done. Have good at-bats, but it has permeated this lineup. 24 walks to only 8 strikeouts the first 2 games.
Better not miss middle in, because he'll make it disappear.
Yeah, we've seen him hit it over into the Crawford boxes many times in his days in this ballpark. Beretta made a good pitch, 2-1 on Bregman.
Yeah, this was a good slider, I believe. Yeah, just stayed down.
The 2-1 pitch. Ball 3. Cal Raleigh waits on deck. American League home run champion. Big dumper waiting for his chance.
Well, there is no ABS system in this classic, although there will be this year. Can't challenge any pitches. That one wasn't close enough.
3-1 pitch. Bregman takes. And it just misses for ball 4 to load the bases up. So Beretta retires the first 2 in this inning, but then a single from Judge, walks from Schwarber and Bregman. And a man that hit 60 home runs last year in Cal Raleigh climbs in.
You'll never meet a more quiet, unassuming superstar who had an MVP type year, an aw shucks attitude. But man, oh man, what a year he had last year.
Set a record for catchers, set a record for switch hitters, set a record for Seattle. 60 home runs and leading the Mariners to within a game of their first trip to the World Series. First pitch from Beretta. Big cut, fouls it back. Big spot early in this game for Team USA. They put up those 24 runs the first 2 games, but they've left a bunch of guys on. Mark DeRosa said 24 runs, but it feels like not even close to hitting their stride. 0-2. Beretta trying to wiggle his way off of the hook. 3 games in the big leagues, but a big-time reputation back in Mexico. Big game pitcher there. His 0-2 to Raleigh. Did he go? He did, and Beretta's out of the first inning jam. The U.S. leaves the bases loaded, and after 1 in Houston, no score. The Air Force Academy baseball team played at Baylor over the weekend, and they just swing over here to Houston on Paul Skeens and Griffin Jax's dime. They're taking the game in. Some pretty darn good seats. Yeah, so Paul Skeens went to Air Force to become a fighter pilot. He went there to play catcher and to become a fighter pilot. He was a catcher as a freshman, dominated, started to pitch a little bit. And he's playing baseball. He's going through the fighter pilot training. His major is chemistry. He's so good at that he was tutoring other cadets. He was in charge of inspecting the other cadets' rooms in the morning. Then he was tough on them. He made sure that everything was perfect. Then he said, look, I'm only going to have 1 shot to chase this baseball thing. It got to the point where it was hard for him to ignore what he was becoming as a player. And had he stayed through his 2nd season, there's an obligation that kicks in that you have to have 2 more years mandatory commitment to the armed forces. And he wouldn't have been able to go to the big leagues if it kept on going that route. So he made what he said was the hardest decision that he's ever had to make. And he transferred to LSU. A year after that, he was the top pick of the draft. This is only a few years ago. He's still just 23 years old. But that is all to paint the picture of why this is so special for Paul Skeens to put on this uniform. Alejandro Kirk leads off this 2nd for Mexico. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. Military background in his family as well. He had 3 uncles that served in the military. So he said this decision to take on risk as a pitcher this time of year in an exhibition, a no-brainer, because he wanted to do it for his family. He wanted to do it, he said, for every serviceman and servicewoman And he said, look, we're not cadets or anything like that. We know that. And he joked that these hairstyles would never fly in any kind of academy. But we understand that when we put on these colors, we're not just playing baseball. We're representing something much deeper. And he said, we hope that when you watch us, you feel that. It's 1-2 to Kirk, is outside, and the count evens 2-2.
Well, I applaud him, because the easy thing would be to follow the narrative of not doing it.
Kirk, who made his name during the Blue Jays World Series run last year, on 2-2, fouls it off. The Skeens told the story of the day that he arrived at the academy. He said, you get there, you're scrambling, they're making you line up, you don't know what you're doing. And then just a few hours after you arrive at the academy, you're standing there with your right hand raised doing the oath of enlistment. He gets Kirk to open off his second inning. He said basically that's after hours on campus, you're pledging to give your life for your country. And heavy stuff, of course. But he said for him, it was one of the highlights of his life to love something as much as he loves his country, to be able to put his hand up and say that. And he said, yeah, it was only a couple years at the academy, but he thinks about what he learned there every day. He would not be who he is today, he said, without his experience of having gone to the academy. One gone in the second inning. Rowdy Tellez takes a ball. Tellez, who had 32 home runs for the Brewers a few years ago. Mexico looking for its first base runner against Skeens. Retiring the first 4. And getting a strike on Tellez.
Tellez, as he looks, loves the fastball. Off speed, not so much, but this is not your ordinary fastball either that he's facing.
A year ago when Skeens elevated that fastball, especially, the league hit 120 against it. 98, top half of the zone, 1-2.
Yeah, you'd mentioned his lower release point. If he doesn't collapse his backside, he works real hard to stay strong over the rubber, and that lower 3/4 angle is awfully difficult on hitters.
Back-to-back Ks to open the second.
And what I mean about getting underneath it, that's the only thing that allows a hitter to get a flat fastball, because that's not flat when you're on top of it, even with a low 3/4 delivery. And so I think the upgrade of his pitches will come in this year and the year to come after this, because he's just really coming into his own. You mentioned 23.
Yeah. Nacho Alvarez, with 2 gone here in the second. First one from Skeens is right there for a strike. That article we were talking about, that the letter that he wrote in the Players Tribune today, he titled it A Letter to Little Leaguers, and the message at the end is hard work is the only magic secret that there is. Or anything beyond that. As Alvarez hammers this ball in the air to center field, but he gets under it a little bit. And Byron Buxton will wait for it to come down and make the grab. That's the scary thing. Paul Skeens just 2 years into his career, hungry to keep getting better. No score, middle 2. No score to the bottom of the second. This highly anticipated matchup between Mexico and the U.S. Seeing Paul Skeens tonight. Saw Tarek Skubal on Saturday. And Ken Rosenthal, we thought that was just going to be one and done with Skubal, but then it was up in the air for a bit. What's the latest on Skubal?
Well, it was one and done, Joe. He is going back to join the Tigers at some point in Lakeland, Florida. He had a hard time with this decision. Said he hadn't slept, talked to everybody under the sun. Justin Verlander, his teammates here, Andy Pettit, the Team USA pitching coach. But ultimately, he decided he could not make it work with the schedule, did not want to incur the risk of injury. So Tarek Skubal is one and done. Possible he will join the team in Miami if they advance to the semifinals, just to be a spectator and be with his teammates.
All right, Kenny, is Roman Anthony will lead off this second inning for Team USA against Manny Barreda, who was able to get out of that first inning bases loaded jam. He's in there with a strike. And, of course, every pitcher that pitches in the WBC takes on some risks. These high-intensity games, high-effort throwing at this stage of the calendar. Specific to Skubal, this is a guy set to maybe set a record for a pitcher with a contract next offseason, who is, even by pitching in the one game, taking an extra risk. And really hard for him to turn away. Just another testament to what Mark DeRosa has talked about with what they've created in that clubhouse and what everybody's feeling. Anthony quickly down 0-2. And takes inside.
This young man right here for Boston is and going to be a star. He controls the strike zone. He has electricity off the bat. Mark DeRosa has raved about Mr. Anthony and the future for what he's give the Boston Red Sox.
He's just 21 years old, came up last year, hit .290, signed an 8-year extension. He's the kid on this team at the age of 21, and Mark DeRosa said they've given him the proper rookie treatment. He had to go out and buy this ridiculous 1,000-pound speaker that he's having to lug around for him. But they're also making sure that they're taking him under their wing, Aaron Judge in particular. We actually saw them today. It was like a cartoon running through the dugout. Judge was first. Anthony was right behind him. Literally and figuratively, he's been right in his hip pocket as this WBC has gone on. He's got to walk to lead off this second. Big, strong hits for high average, but that on-base ability, what has been the big standout quality.
But that's what I'm saying. There's not 28-year-olds that would be 0-2 in the first two pitches and be able to draw a walk. They would get more aggressive. This guy's plate command and discipline is way beyond his age, and that's why he's in the big leagues with Boston.
Now, why Alex Cora has already said that he's going to hit leadoff for the Red Sox this year. Byron Buxton, who once upon a time was in those same shoes as Anthony, is the next big thing, the top prospect in baseball. And when he's been healthy in his time in the big leagues, he's looked every bit of that superstar player.
Can't leave a ball middle up to him. Down, you get him out with breaking balls. But, man, he's got electricity in his bat.
Career high 35 home runs last year. Mentioned the health. When he's been on the field, he's been elite. You look at the slugging leaderboard the last 5 years in the big leagues. It goes Judge, Ohtani, Yordan Alvarez, and then Byron Buxton. There's 1-1 from Beretta. Buxton swats a line drive to center field. Thomas on the run. He'll get there. Back to first goes Anthony. One gone.
Thomas so good in center field. Arizona covers a lot of ground. That's the one big part of this ballpark. Down the lines is short, but center field, there's a lot of room. And he ran that down fairly routinely. Again, I know the competition is a big part of why one game there were 17 walks given to the USA lineup, but a lot of it has to do with their lineup. I don't know what the record is for the WBC in walks, but they got to be on pace of breaking it.
Here's Bryce Terang following it off. He had 24 of them through the first two games. They got 3 more of them already today. And I think, John, talking to Mark DeRosa, if there's anybody who has taken what was already high expectations and blown him out of the water, it's this guy right here, Bryce Terang. Mark said, if I was a GM, I'd be calling the Brewers right now, finding a way to trade for this guy.
Yeah, the biggest thing that kind of surprised him is the power. You don't necessarily think of this guy being like a home run hitter per se, but he can hit home runs. The ball jumps off his bat as well. I mean, it might be worth the fans' admission just to watch this team take batting practice because it is pretty impressive.
Well, you see the guys go through and do the professional hitting, hit the ball the other way, but then you know what, it's time to just let's go ahead and show off and see who can hit it the furthest. Yeah, man, oh man, they were going to some places of the park I didn't know it was possible to go. Saw Bregman hit the train. Bryce Harper went the other way, hit it over the batter's eye to left center field. Roman Anthony, some high arcing fly balls. And they're all in the same dang group. It's like one after another, like you were talking about with Judge. I see how far you hit it. I can hit it farther. 2-2 on Terang. 3 of the top 4 home run hitters in the majors on this Team USA team from a year ago. With the exception of Shohei Ohtani, who is doing his thing for Team Japan, going deep in the first 2 games for his club. 2 balls and 2 strikes on Terang, who pokes it foul. Turang's gotten better and better to the point where last year, while he's still flying under the radar probably nationally, he got MVP votes on a Brewers team that made it to the National League Championship Series, and now one of 14 Brewers playing in the World Baseball Classic. Another 2-2 to Turang, and he's worked it full. The top of the order waiting.
I've learned so much from watching some of these hitters who do have a control of the strike zone. That pitch right there, it's not a blind spot. It means he recognized right away it's a ball. Some guys have a blind spot there, swing over the top thinking it's going to be in, and he never even offered of it, recognizing it right away. And that's the key to being plate discipline.
Anthony runs, he fouls it off and stays alive.
Because you'll see scouting reports and you'll see all the information. You look at the quadrant of a strike zone: 1, 2, 3 top of the zone, 4, 5, 6 middle, 7, 8, 9 bottom, and there'll be numbers that hitting 090, 110 in certain quadrants because it's just a blind spot. They cannot recognize that pitch. That's where you get them out. That's how you acquire all the information from a pitcher to hitter and the scouting report.
There goes Anthony again. Another payoff. Hook down the line towards the corner and foul.
And then people will say, well, if you know that so much and it's so readily available, why don't you just go there all the time? The opposite's not true all the time. Every pitcher can't throw it in the area that's desired all the time, and that's the push and pull of having information, but then knowing how to use it to your advantage.
And then you make the pitch to the spot, and a guy fouls it off, and then he fouls it off, and here you are facing Turang, having to throw a ninth pitch. Bobby Witt Jr. waits on deck. Anthony goes again. Turang past first and down the line. Keeps this one fair towards the corner. Duran over to cut it off. Anthony's headed home. Relay to the plate is in time. Tag from Kirk. They got him. Nick Gonzalez right to Kirk, and it stays 0-0.
This is close. I don't know if they're going to take a look if the foot got underneath the tag or not, but what a perfect relay. And doesn't look like they're going to take a look at it, but man, oh man, Anthony kind of slows down a little bit thinking he's going to stop here and then has to turn it back on, and we won't see it from this angle, but watch when he gets around the bag and he gets to third base. There's where he slows down just a little bit and then he's got to pick it back up, and that is the difference.
He's getting a workout in. He had taken off on back-to-back pitches, back-to-back full-count pitches, and then had to sprint around the bases and didn't quite have enough. Duran to Gonzalez to Kirk and out at home.
Yeah, he definitely got him. And again, that's a big part of spring training too. Getting your legs, getting them ready, running the bases.
And so it's up to Bobby Witt Jr. now with 2 gone in this second inning. U.S. has had chances, left the bases loaded in the first. And a man cut down at home in the second. Witt grounded out his first time. We were talking about Roman Anthony being the kid on this edition of Team USA. Last time these guys got together, Bobby Witt was that guy. He's a 22-year-old in 2023. He only got 2 at-bats. He had Trey Turner at shortstop. He was the best player for Team USA last time around. Hit 5 home runs, and Witt was kind of the understudy. But now bona fide superstar for the Royals. 2-2.
Yeah, he sure is. You can't say that the USA team hasn't scored a run, because they have, but they've left a ton of people on base. That's going to have to get better as the tournament keeps going. You won't be given that many opportunities from some of these teams that are still in the dance.
It's one of the things that hurt against Japan in the close loss in the championship game. They were 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position in 23. Witt hits a fly ball to left center field. Thomas is going back on it at the track, back against the wall. He's got it. Speaking of back against the wall, that's what it's felt like for Mexico these first 2 innings, where they keep on punching back. No score after 2.
Welcome back to Houston. We're here with Team Mexico manager Benji Gil. Benji, terrific defensive play that inning. Manny Barreda has danced out of trouble.
Yeah.
How long can you stay with him?
We were hoping get 2 or 3 with the amount of pitches, we're gonna stick with 2. We're done. We're done. We're going to the bullpen and go with the rest of our boys.
Paul Skeens, you're facing him. You were yelling at your guys, get him down, get him down. Is that the plan?
Yeah, I mean, he's firm and he's got good off-speed pitches, but obviously there's way more life at the top than down low. So we get him down. I mean, there's nothing easy about him, right? But it's less difficult, right? If you're down, it's early it's in spring training. If he's going to beat us with off-speed stuff, then so be it. But we got to get ready for the fastball and just think about hitting it right back up the middle.
Benji, finally, winning this game, what would it mean to Mexico?
It'd be an important game, but to be honest, this is for us. This is like a game that gets us ready for when we move on, right? For the quarterfinal game, for the semifinal game, and then finally win the championship. Was it March 17th?
All right, Benji, thanks very much. Joe, back to you.
Yep.
All right, Kenny. Nick Gonzalez facing his Pirates teammate here in Paul Skeens to lead off the third after his assist. Got him at a home plate in the bottom of the second.
I like the way he said that and answered that question.
He had the date and everything.
Because a lot of managers will say if. Just so they don't get out in front. Like, I like the way he answered it.
Well, he was saying to us today that when we get to Miami, there's going to be a lot more Team Mexico fans than there were last time. It was a surprise trip last time. Everybody already had their flights booked home from Arizona. It was just a quick trip to see some Team Mexico baseball. He said, I've talked to a lot of Team Mexico fans. This is a one-way ticket that they have here to Houston. They're planning on being ready to book a trip to Miami. And he said, then tell us where the party is and we'll fly there.
You got to have that attitude. After this round robin, it's game 7s the rest of the way. You lose, you're done.
Both these teams 2-0. Team Italy, don't sleep on them. They're 2-0 as well. Winner of this game will certainly be in position to move on. The loser, though, the pressure is put on to beat Italy in their final game. USA going to play Italy tomorrow. Mexico play them Wednesday. But the Italy squad right in the middle of the picture, too. Their manager, Francisco Cervelli. A lot of big league talent on that Italy team, put together by Ned Coletti. 2 balls and 2 strikes on Gonzalez. Skeens, who's got 3 Ks so far. It's gone full. Great Britain today, guaranteeing that they will be invited to the next World Baseball Classic by beating Brazil. And with the big 3 in this Pool B, have a round robin these next few days. 8th pitch to Gonzalez, and he finishes him off with that power sinker, 98 for his 4th K.
Well, that's how he's getting most of the outs. It's either fastball or the sinker, and that's a good formula when you throw a ball that moves that much.
One out in this 3rd inning. Alek Thomas coming off a 3-for-3 game against Brazil yesterday with a home run and 3 knocked in. What made it extra special for him is that the strength coach on Team Brazil is his dad, Alan. So you look over to the Brazil dugout as Alex is hitting this home run, having this great game for Team Mexico, and you got the guy on the Team Brazil stuff smiling, happy that his kid is putting on a show. Longtime strength coach of the Chicago White Sox, and so Alec grew up around the game. He's in his 5th season with the Arizona Diamondbacks. They're about to begin it, and he's somebody that's made a big impression so far on his manager, Benji Gill.
I like this guy a lot. He definitely can fly, and he can defend, and he's only going to get better as a hitter, I would think, as time goes on.
We saw him in that surprise World Series run for the Diamondbacks in 2023. He had 4 home runs, some big ones for Arizona.
Yeah. The one in game 4. Tied it up.
Skeens with another K right there. Back-to-back to open this 3rd and 5 total.
This is what you just call nasty. I mean, it looks like it's hittable, and then it's not.
8 up, 8 down for Paul Skeens, and Joey Ortiz with the bases empty and 2 away. Bounces it past Skeens behind second. Running throw from Bryce Terang, but it gets away. And Mexico's got its first base runner as he dives back in there. He had made a turn towards second, so he knew that he had to scamper back, and Raleigh was unable to get there with the tag. It's an error on Terang, and the door's open here for Mexico in the third.
Yeah, he makes a nice play to get to. I think the ball fades a little bit, and then Harper's been so unbelievable at first base. You would never know he's an outfielder. Maybe didn't anticipate the fade and the lack of that ball getting to him. And it caught the end of his glove. I've been so impressed with Harper at first base. I mean, nobody understands how hard of a transition he's made look that easy.
Now, the casual fan that may be picking up and watching baseball here with this tournament may say, wait a minute, what's he doing at first? He moved there a couple years ago to get back as soon as he could from Tommy John surgery. And what was supposed to be a temporary thing, it's stuck because it's what the Phillies have needed most, the way the roster's been put together. And he's been really darn good at it. And he kept an eye for Jarren Duran in a scoreless third inning. Duran, who struck out to open the game, waits on a 1-0 from Skeens. Line drive, base hit, right field. And so after their first base runner, they get their first hit. Judge's throw to third, gets him and ends the inning. Aaron Judge cuts down Ortiz. The captain for the U.S. did it with the bat in the first game. He does it with his arm here against Team Mexico. Oh, both defenses playing big roles in this game.
Back here in Houston with
Roman Anthony coming around third base right there. So 2 great defensive plays by both teams.
Paul Skeens at 45 pitches. What is the pitching plan the rest of the way?
Yeah, we'll have somebody loose, but he's going to go back out.
Finally, you talked about this game tonight as being a little bit different than what you've had previously. What did you tell your players about the crowd, the atmosphere, and Team Mexico before the game?
I just said expect to be the visitor, even though we're in Houston right here, and it's exactly coming to pass right now.
Mark, thanks a lot.
All right.
Joe, back to you.
All right, Kenny. Bryce Harper starts this third inning against a new pitcher for Team Mexico as Jesus Cruz takes over. Good work by Manny Beretta to get around some traffic. Hands it off to Cruz, who the last few years has pitched mostly in Mexico, but has had some time in the big leagues with the Cardinals and the Braves.
Fastball, changeup, slider, but facing this lineup, I thought the first couple innings was treading at I used an analogy in Miami that I'll use again here. Facing this lineup is kind of like playing the game Frogger, where you try to get across all the traffic across the log. That's what it feels like facing this 9 batters, because you just have to limit the damage. And even though there's going to be a lot of walks, try to stay away from the big inning. Pick and choose which count you're going to challenge somebody.
Yeah, and as DeRosa put together the roster, that was something he wanted to do. We talked about him wanting to have a true well-rounded team. He wanted the ability to go lefty-righty, lefty-righty, be really hard to match up with, and just have the games be too long. Harper strokes it up the middle, off Cruz, and it'll die left side for a leadoff hit.
He got absolutely smoked. I will be
Benji Gill come take a look at him. Man, that sounded just as loud as the crack of the bat.
And he didn't have a chance really to kind of like to have any action other than absorb it with his body, and it caught him in the leg. I mean, this thing is, they talk about hit right up the middle. I mean, it catches him on the leg that's in the air. So it's in the air, so there's no way to, that's like the worst place to get hit. If your foot is down, you got a chance to kind of do something about it.
Did it get him on like the side of the foot?
Couldn't tell. It just looks, it just smoked him though.
Yeah, wherever it got him good.
Got him on the ankle. That's worse. Like probably on the bone there. That, as a pitcher, again, you never throw a pitch anticipating that a ball's going to be hit that hard up the middle, but you got to be ready and land in a position to defend yourself, and he was in position, obviously, not to defend himself.
And again, Team Mexico really has just 2 true starting pitchers on this roster. They've already used them. And so this is already going to be a bullpen game where they would piece it together. Yes, the back end of the bullpen really good. Andres Munoz Lumen in the 9th inning. Victor Vodnik before him. But you got to be able to get it there after the 2 scoreless innings from Beretta.
And this is his push-off ankle, which is, there's no good ankle to have something wrong with when the pitcher. That's the one thing. Pitchers get blamed for having little things that go wrong that don't allow him to perform. That's because you need everything to work when you're throwing downhill, and you need both your feet to work along with your shoulder, obviously. So,
and if you could pick an ankle to get hit on,
there isn't a good one.
They're both bad.
They're both bad.
Option C.
They're both plant. You know, you got to plant, push off, land, and push off again. So that's why if a pitcher ever gets cramps or calf issues, they're done. Like, you can't not have your ability to push off and go downhill and accelerate.
He says, I'm good, and Benji Gill says, well, you better be, because look who's coming up. Judge singled his first time. Harper with a good lead at first. Cruz throws and misses down and away. Team full of stars, and we talk about the roster being well-rounded, but Mark DeRosa says it still circles back to the captain, to the guy right at the top of the totem pole, the biggest reason why it's been so cohesive. Said better than advertising. High expectations, of course, for this team, but it's exceeded Mark DeRosa's expectations, he said, and begins with Judge and the example that he sets with his work, how inclusive he's been of everybody on the roster. He's ahead here, 2-1 on Cruz. First time Judge has worn USA at any level. Strokes one the other way, back towards the wall. There it goes. Aaron Judge strikes first for Team USA. Opposite field power, his second home run of this World Baseball Classic in 3 games. 2-0 USA.
Working on that a lot in batting practice today, and when you have a field like that, it doesn't matter what field he plays in. He can go to any ballpark, any place, but staying behind it and going the other way. That is the difference in Aaron Judge and why he's at the elite level that he's at. He would swing and pull off this ball and try to pull every one of them early on, and now he goes to all parts of the field, stays off the slider down and away.
Schwarber cracks it on the ground and through. 3 straight hits for the Americans to start the 3rd. Yeah, because the power is so eye-popping, it tends to overshadow what a well-rounded hitter he is. This guy won the batting title last year, hitting .331, along with the 53 home runs. They're the most home runs ever for a batting champion.
Let's see how he let that ball get deep, and because he's so strong, he doesn't have to try to get out in front of that ball to hit it for power.
You know, the U.S. looks to get greedy here. Still nobody out, and a ball on Bregman. Aaron said that he thinks about his grandpa. He thinks about his uncle when he puts on Team USA. His grandpa was in the Coast Guard. His uncle was in the Army. Said deep respect, admiration, sense of patriotism that comes from that. And he said, let's do this for the men and the women who serve our country and make any of this possible. That was his message to his teammates when he addressed them first day they got together in Arizona last week. DeRosa said he didn't have to do a whole lot of recruiting because, Judge signs up, but everybody's going to want to be involved, and Judge did some recruiting himself. Said two things to it, and it wasn't that difficult for him. Number one, he said, look, guys, here's a chance to come play for your country. But then the other thing, here's a chance to come be with a bunch of other superstars and learn from each one of them. All these guys, yeah, they're great, but have a thirst to get better.
Yeah, I wonder how many, look, coming off the heels of the Olympics and the USA hockey team and the excitement there. I mean, there is some excitement when you get to put on this jersey. And the biggest difference, obviously, most of the guys in this United States to stay here play baseball all their life. These other countries, the pride and the joy they have putting on the uniform of their country, because they come back here to the States and join their other teams. And so they're putting forth all their efforts because they realize what it means to their country. And here, it's always been, what does it mean for the World Series? So there's a big difference. And why Team USA now is adopting, like, hey, we've been doing this for a while. We've only got one. It's time to get two. Time to show everybody we're pretty good as well.
3-2 to Bregman. He got him swinging for the first out. They've only got one, and it's been a while since that one. The lone championship for USA was in 2017. And only one guy on this Team USA roster that was on that team. It's Paul Goldschmidt. He talks about how things have changed, where he was one of the messengers after 17, where most guys didn't want to be involved in it, but then everybody started asking about it. Paul, of course, a first baseman, as Riley gets hit here, but he said guys to get down there to first base, and they would all want to know, tell me what it was like. And he was one of the first to spread the message, you got to do it. If you get the chance, you got to do it. And we've seen it grow in the years since.
Cutter inside, right up under the belt. Now, I didn't have an opportunity to do it, but one of the things I got a chance to do was playing the Junior Olympics in 1984. One of the greatest moments of at that time in high school, representing the USA and pitching in the gold medal game against Cuba. And so anytime players now who have, to your point, have been in it, get to spread that word, it's only going to help moving forward.
There's a strike on Anthony, who was at the World Baseball Classic last time as a fan. Drove over. He was in his first spring training with the Red Sox, and he drove over and bought a ticket with a few of his minor league teammates. Took the game in. Sends this ball a mile. How far will it fly for Roman Anthony? Off the facing of the second deck. 5-0 U.S. Sitting in the seats at the 23 WBC and sending one there in 26.
He's got stupid power.
Well, he's put his full game on display in 2 trips up there, hadn't he? He was down 0-2 and drew a walk, and now he shows that stupid power.
Yeah.
And that is going to do it for Cruz. The U.S. has exploded for 5 here in the third. Welcome back to Houston in the 2026 World Baseball Classic on Fox, presented by Capital One. And it continues tomorrow night for Team USA as they take on Italy. Italy's 2-0. They've been impressive so far and going to have a big hand in deciding this Pool B. They face off with Team USA tomorrow at 9 o'clock Eastern on FS1, and then they face Mexico on Wednesday. Top 2 teams in each pool will advance to the knockout stage. And here Judge making a young fan's night, or trying to. Yeah, got it back to 1. After hitting a home run, 5-0 in support of Paul Skeens. Randy Rosarena takes ball 1. So it has been all USA trying to beat Mexico for the first time in 20 years in this event. Granted, it's only every few years, but Mexico has won the last 3 head-to-head matchups. 5 Ks for Skeens, just 1 hit.
A bit of a long wait. He got benefited by getting 5 runs, so you try to get back into your routine here. Missed badly the first couple.
Yeah, and found the top of the zone right there. Limited in the group stage is 65 pitches. Two and two on a Rosarena.
From our angle up here, I really have been impressed with. There hasn't been much overthrowing, overexerting. It's been really smooth. Obviously, the statistics show why he's so good, but it would be very easy for him to get out of his mechanics from being revved up and pumped up to pitch in a game like this, and he's really shown me a lot of maturity and staying within himself.
Here comes the 3-2 to Rosarena, and he strikes him out on the outside corner. Strikeout number 6 for Paul Skeens in his WBC debut.
I know I've told you this before, but when we've had scenarios like this where we get a chance to see a great pitch on a 3-2, is I used to struggle with spring training in this regard. Pitch limit. Because now I'm trying to do too much in the limited amount of pitches rather than just pitch to each hitter and execute the pitch. I'm like, oh, shoot, I only got 35 pitches. I'm going to have to really work on this and work on that. And you get away from thinking about pitching when you know that there's a progression in spring training that doesn't matter, right? Because it's just spring training. But this is why this is different.
I'll put up our Adrian Johnson shouting over there to the Team Mexico dugout. Going at it with Benji Gill. Aranda ahead 2-0.
You know what that conversation usually goes like?
Tell me.
He's good enough. He doesn't need any help. Yeah. The guy on the mound, like, don't give him anything.
Enough already, huh? This ball 3 in Aranda.
Well, he's a good player for the Rays.
First full season last year. 316, was an all-star. Yeah, and he's got a 4-pitch walk. Maybe that barking from his manager helped him. Garrett Clevenger has started to warm for Team USA. First walk issued by Skeens. And how about this line for the pitching staff as a whole? 39 Ks to 2 walks.
Yeah, this is the best pitching staff I think that the Team USA has fielded.
Mexico trying to chip away with Kirk at the plate. Then he cracks one. Diving stop at short by Witt across the diamond. Wow. That was impossible. Bobby Witt made it happen.
Can I tell you about this man's IQ? He knew who was at the plate. He makes this play full well knowing he's got time to throw out. Not the most speedy runner, but this is an unbelievable play. I mean, it's just an arm, a one-hop, and plenty of time. Wow.
Mark DeRosa told us that his one regret from the 2023 World Baseball Classic was that he didn't find a way to get Bobby Witt on the field. And I was like, well, dude, you had Trey Turner hitting a home run every time he came up. And he said, yeah, I should have found a way. I know he was 22. I know that he was supposed to just be there learning, but he said we knew then that he was different. They're getting a chance to show that this time. Tellez fouls it off.
This is just, we get a chance to see it live. I don't think you can appreciate it on TV. And he knows right there, oh, no. That's a base hit when he left the box until it wasn't.
0-2 on Tellez. Getting close to the end of the line here for Skeens. 59th pitch. Next lined up to pitch what would be the semifinal on Sunday if USA were to get there. The scene shifts to Miami. Skeens wants to stay on the regular season schedule as he builds up 4 or 5 days of rest, and so that's how that would time out. As advertised, putting on his nation's colors for the first time. 7 Ks for Paul Skeens and some help from Bobby Witt Jr. here in the 4th. U.S. up 5-0 on home runs from Judge and Anthony. Show your country pride at MLBShop.com. Check out the largest selection of authentic World Baseball Classic jerseys, caps, t-shirts, and more. Go to MLBShop.com, the official source for all your World Baseball Classic gear. There it is, final line for Paul Skeens in his first World Baseball Classic game. 4 scoreless innings, just 1 hit. He strikes out 7. And harness the emotions of, as you've touched on, what is a big deal really well.
Yeah, he sure did. Look, I just think the reason he's going to get better, and, you know, Pittsburgh's in a tough place as an organization, and they better find a way to win with him soon, because you can't get much better than that. And he's going to pitch more innings. He didn't pitch as many innings, being careful and team not going anywhere, but I say it every year, Pittsburgh should be much more competitive. They should be a tough place to go and play with the pitching that they have established, and now it's time for the Pirates to be relevant again.
Bobby Witt Jr. leads off this inning, strokes a ball to the gap in left center field, and it's up against the wall. Witt, after the tremendous defensive play in the top of the 4th, starts the bottom half with a double. And his parents in attendance.
I don't know what he can't do. He can fly, he can hit for power, he can hit for average, and we've already seen his defense. The generation of players that are coming from former big league dads is pretty incredible.
His dad, of course, pitched in the big leagues. Now Harper to the plate here. It was Harper who started things for the U.S. in the 3rd. Singled, came in to score the first of those 5 runs. First one from Alex Carrillo is outside. Let's check in with Ken Rosenthal.
Joe, it's fitting that Bryce Harper and Aaron Judge scored the first 2 runs for Team USA. These 2 were close even before becoming teammates on this club. Judge and Harper, these guys, you wouldn't associate with them together, but Harper said Judge is the opposing player that he speaks with most, which is surprising to me. And Judge said that a relationship formed after the 2018 season when Judge was a free agent, and when Harper was a free agent and Judge was trying to recruit him for the Yankees.
All right, and of course goes to Philadelphia, but the guys have stayed in touch, and now going into 2026, this is going to be Harper's 8th year. That exceeds how much time he was in Washington. Longer a Philly than he was in that. And trying to come back from what was, by his standards, a down year last year as he dealt with some injuries. All the expectations he had from before he was even close to the big leagues. He was a teenager and he was on the cover of Sports Illustrated. All those expectations and what he's done in his career. It's hard to even get close to meeting those kinds of expectations and that weight, but he's done it.
Yeah, he sure has. He's been everything and more that Philadelphia could have wanted. And they've been close. They've been close to getting that championship.
Bringing back the same core, re-signing Kyle Schwarber this offseason. The Phillies will be right in the middle of things again this year. Crowd into the glove, strike 3. 1 gone in the 4th. That brings up Aaron Judge. If the fourth inning has belonged to Bobby Witt, the third inning was Aaron Judge all over it. He had this outfield assist to finish off the top of the inning, showing Yankees fans my elbow is just fine.
Yeah.
And then he came up and swatted one the other way. Now, that elbow injury in July of last year, missed a couple weeks, came back just DH before moving back to the field. That throw is 92.
Yeah,
he's doing fine, huh? Three-time MVP. With it, second one away. 2-0. DiMaggio, Berra, Mantle, Judge. The only Yankees that could say that. He still feels very much in his prime. On a 2-0 pitch, swings and misses. Same thing, though. You're talking about Phillies badly want to win one while they have Harper in his prime. The Yankees got to find a way to get it done when they have Aaron Judge in his. Garrett Cole coming back from the arm injury this year. 3-1 on Judge. And what feels like, again, a wide open American League.
The American League East has always been filled with superstars and teams. There's going to be a great one this year. I think Boston much improved. Of course, Toronto doing what they did. They're not going to slide back at all. Baltimore trying to get back in the fray, and then we always got the Rays. So it's going to be a fun American League East race.
How about the Tigers rotation they've put together there?
Yep.
Justin Verlander headed back there. Framber Valdez.
Same thing. Got to win.
Why you got Skubal?
Well, you got Skubal. You may not have him much longer.
Hit it here, he says. Not here, says Adrian Johnson. So another 3-2 coming here from Alex Carrillo. Did he go? Laid off. Ball 4. Judge has been on all 3 times. Adds the walk to the single and the home run and brings up Kyle Schwarber. This middle part of the order for Team USA, specifically Judge and Schwarber, 5 times up. They've reached all 5 times. Schwarber a walk and a single. Fouls off the first pitch. Schwarber back to the Phillies. New 5-year contract after he led the National League, hitting 56 home runs last year. Led the majors in runs batted in. MVP runner-up to Ohtani. Kevin Durant in the building, part of a packed house, part of a standing room only crowd. He's able to find himself a good seat. Two on with 1 out. Schwarber fouls it again, 0-2. Schwarber hit leadoff last game.
I have a hard time. I know he's had success in the leadoff role with Philadelphia, but man.
We said to Mark DeRosa, you went from the fastest leadoff guy to the slowest, literally one end to the other, going from Witt to me. With this very green and red crowd growing frustrated with Adrian Johnson. As it goes to 1-2 on Schwarber. Went around this time, 2 away.
He did.
Alex Creel, who made his major league debut last year with the New York Mets, goes to work against Alex Bregman. Witt at second, Judge at first. Strike one on Bregman. Cubs fans fired up to see Alex Bregman put on their colors this year. After his almost decade here in Houston, last year in Boston, such an impact there. And then to the Cubs.
Cubs Brewers probably going to go at it again. Like I said, Pirates Reds should be a much more competitive field, with maybe St. Louis taking a little slide back with some of the moves they've made.
Well, the Cubs lose Tucker but add Bregman. Lose one former Astro star, add another. Double and a walk in the inning. And now Bregman sends one straight up on the diamond. Joey Ortiz at short has it spotted, and that'll do it for the U.S. in the fourth. Sunday on Fox, the IndyCar Series roars into Arlington for the first time ever, and the inaugural race begins with a star-studded Texas-sized party. The Java House Grand Prix of Arlington, Sunday, 12:30 Eastern on Fox. Down to the dugout we go. Ken Rosenthal has Paul Skeens.
Paul, you've waited a long time to wear this uniform. What was it like pitching for Team USA tonight?
Yeah, it was awesome. Getting that 5-run inning made it really easy to go back out there, but that was unbelievable. So excited to watch the rest of this one.
You're always so calm and methodical and focused. Were there any special nerves or emotions coming into tonight?
Probably a little bit, but outside of the WBC, it's good to get back into a stadium with a full. The stands full. So there were a couple things that I was aware of that I was going to have to kind of subdue a little bit, but once I got out there, it was pretty easy to just pitch.
We all know you spent 2 years at the Air Force Academy. How important was it for you, Paul, to represent all the servicemen and women around the world tonight?
Yeah. They're watching. This is a source of pride for us on the field, but we got a country behind us, and that's heavy. So it's not something that any of us take lightly, and it's just a huge blessing to be able to do it.
Paul, thanks a lot. Joe, back to you.
All right, Kenny. Skeens, just as you would hope in his WBC debut, 7 strikeouts over his 4 scoreless innings, and set to pitch the semifinal should the U.S. get there. Skeens said that the same way that he would put on those blues at the academy, and you would have your name over your right chest, but your country over your heart. He said he felt that same thing putting on the uniform with USA across his chest, and thinking about everything that represented. And did his country proud tonight. 5-0 they lead. Bottom of the 5th inning, trying to go to 3-0 in this World Baseball Classic, where they carry heavy expectations. Rowley on 1-2 takes strike 3 from Sammy Natera. And of course, the expectations, they get through this group, and then you get into the knockout stage over the weekend, and man, oh man, are there some potential gauntlets to go through when they get to Miami. Chances are you're going to get the winner of Japan, Dominican Republic in the championship. One away for Roman Anthony, who's got one of the big swings in this game. Sammy Natera is an Angels farmhand, pitched in AAA last season for them.
Young man's got a good arm.
Didn't even begin pitching until he was 17. He was more of a basketball player than he was a baseball player. And in baseball, he was a first baseman. The pitching has carried him to the upper rungs of the Angels system. Anthony in this game, a walk and a 3-run home run that left no doubt. Lefty, Natera throws, and Anthony sends a fly ball to left center field. Routine for Rosarena, and 2 gone in the 5th. Buxton bats with 2 gone as Matthew Boyd gets ready to pitch. Early, Mark DeRosa has paired 2 starters in each game in this WBC. Clevenger the bridge to go from Skeens to Boyd. What do we got there?
A patriotic uniform.
Yeah, it was. 0-1 on Buxton, 0 for 2.
I mean, this is all arms and legs and coming right after the USA lineup.
One of 3 guys in this game out of New Mexico State. Joey Ortiz, mentioned Nick Gonzalez, and Natera.
So just to be clear, going to New Mexico State doesn't qualify you to be on Team Mexico.
No. Might give you a shot at Team USA too. Open the door to the WBC. Surest path. The Aggies. Natera's 3-1, a swing and a miss, trying to work the first clean inning of this game for Mexico pitching. Traffic from the start for Team USA. Only been able to crack through in the 3rd inning, though. All 5 runs came there.
And even though Team Mexico's down 5-0, the rest of this game is super important from a run prevention, just what we talked about. So many variables that come in if there's 3-way tie, 2-way tie. 3-way tie is where it's going to matter.
Buxton takes the walk here, and the inning stays alive for Terang. Yeah, Benji Gill was saying you're kind of paying attention to some things down there you wouldn't normally pay attention to as a manager. You have to have those scenarios in your head. And look, yeah, trying to prevent runs when it comes to the differential and the tiebreakers, but not out of this game yet. We got Skeens out of the game. Don't have to worry about him anymore. And a potent Mexico lineup that scored 24 runs over the first 2 games. 16 runs in 6 innings yesterday. So very capable of erasing this 5-run deficit. Terang 1 for 2 with a double. Strike 2. You can see how hard it is on these lefties to pick them off.
Yeah, he's really on the far 3rd base side of the rubber where his toe is just on the rubber, so he's as far over there as you can be.
Terang hooks it on the ground to second. Nick Gonzalez is there, and that'll do it for the U.S. in the 5th. WBC is baseball joy. All these guys looking like kids playing the game. Seeing some of the celebrations. Hopefully the kids aren't downing shots of espresso like that. That'd be bad news. But the rest of this, man, oh man, it's just backyard stuff. Pure baseball joy. Matthew Boyd comes on to pitch, the top of the 6th for Team USA. It was funny talking to Mark DeRosa today about the celebrations around the game, and he said, I feel like there's this false narrative that we're not having fun, that we're too buttoned up. And he said, I want to put it out there that could not be farther from the truth of what it feels like in here. He used the words, it's heaven on earth in this dugout and in the clubhouse with how much these guys are enjoying themselves. I mean, it's hard to keep up with a team who's got an espresso machine in the dugout with the jackets and the sombreros. But make no mistake, these guys are having a blast too.
I like watching Matthew Boyd pitch in an era where there has been so much velocity and obviously eye-popping stuff. This guy knows how to pitch, and he moves the ball around, changes speeds, funky.
More than a decade in the big leagues, he was an all-star for the first time last year for the Cubs at the age of 34. Brings the 1-2 to Joey Ortiz and strikes him out with the changeup. Now for more on the celebrations and the joy around this tournament, we go down to Kenny.
Well, Joe, with the U.S. team, one of the things you see is the joy the players have just being around each other. That play Bobby Witt Jr. made the last inning as they're coming off the field. Aaron Judge had a huge grin on his face, turns to Witt in the dugout and says, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? That's joy.
Yeah, taking joy in the talent around them. Judge has talked about that a bunch, trying to learn what makes the guys around him tick. You don't get chances to, I mean, you play him for a few days during the regular season. You don't get chances to really connect like I would imagine they are through this process.
Oh, the only other example you get of that is 1 day, 2 days at the All-Star game where you intermingle, competing hard against each other and then getting to be teammates. This is a lot longer experience. A lot more pressure, though, because the expectations are that this team should and is favored to win it all. So with that comes paying attention to detail, having fun, but getting it done.
1-2 on Jarren Duran. Has the lone hit in this game for Mexico. Boyd throws. Duran lays off. Duran, the All-Star Game MVP 2 years ago in Texas. Down a 2-2 from Boyd. Sends a fly ball to left center field. And will fly out of here. Kept on going to the Crawford boxes as he takes advantage of the green monster at Fenway Park. Does the same here with a short porch in Houston. And Mexico's on the board.
All the faster home run trots you'll ever see in the big leagues. Guy can fly. He's got power.
Yeah, one of the things that has made him really take off, Alex Cora would tell you, is that he's learned how to utilize his park to his advantage. Peppering extra base hits off of the monster, hitting home runs over it. Randy Arozarena, auto take. They're right among the extra base leaders across baseball the last couple seasons. Jarren Duran has another here. Randy gave him strike one, and now swings and misses, and it's 0-2 just like that. The home run from Duran, sparking this Team Mexico crowd some. The 1-2 to Arozarena. Fights it off and stays alive. Duran from Southern California. His dad, Octavio, was born in Mexico, and so he's looked at this as a chance to give a nod to his father.
Crowd here for Team Mexico's been waiting for moments. They haven't had many.
Check swing. Lays off. This is a guy that's provided a bunch of them. Whether that's with Tampa Bay or over to Seattle the last couple of years, or a Team Mexico. 0-2 to 2-2. And now time call.
Yeah, that would have been a pitch clock violation, so good job there by Raleigh.
So now the 2-2 from Matthew Boyd to Randy Rosarena. Fouls it back and out of play. Randy playing for his adopted home country of Mexico. Now a Mexican citizen. Another 2-2. And a ground ball to second. Easy one for Terang. Now number 2 of the 6th. Play Ball is baseball's global youth initiative to highlight the fun and accessible ways to play our great game. To learn more, including how to find a league near you, you can scan the QR code or go to playball.org and follow @PlayBall on X, Facebook, and Instagram. 2 outs. And here's Aranda. Aranda got his chance to be a pro baseball player thanks to Randy Rosarena. There was a Tampa Bay scout who went to Mexico to watch Randy. Randy was a no-show, and so the scout's like, well, just complete waste of time to come here. And the guy that was putting on the tryout said, I've got some teenagers, some local guys that you can take a look at. And one of those players is Jonathan Aranda, who did enough that day to convince the scout that had come to see Randy that he should sign Jonathan. Long path through the minor leagues after that, about a decade. Made it to the big leagues in 2022, and it's a handful of games a year for a few seasons. Didn't do a whole lot before the breakout season last year for Tampa Bay. On a 2-1, Aranda takes slow ball 3. Boyd's 3-1. Right center field and down, and a base hit for Aranda. The inning kept alive for Kirk.
This guy was fun to watch last year in the postseason. Did a lot of big things for Toronto. Right now he's trying to do something big to keep this inning going for Team Mexico.
Andy Pettit, decorated pitching coach for Team USA, out for a visit with Boyd. Some stirring down in that Team USA bullpen. Boyd a starting pitcher, and so the plan is to have him go multiple innings here. Some trouble brewing against him, though, with the heart of the order here for Mexico. At the 1 USA. Mexico getting on the board on Duran's home run here in the 6th, and now Kirk, who had 5 home runs during the postseason for the Blue Jays last year. Boyd to Kirk. Upstairs. 1-0. Big swing. Got it off the end of the bat. Pull another string there with the changeup. Count evens 1-1. And Aranda sandwiching this Team Mexico lineup by guys that he's got long-term ties to. Kirk, who follows him here, his best buddy since they were 4, playing Little League together in Tijuana. Ground ball right side and through. Back-to-back 2-out hits for the old Little League teammates. 2 on and 2 out for Team Mexico. And Rowdy Tellez coming up. Instead of pinch hitter, it's Joey Meneses. Here they are as kids back in Mexico. And still to this day, best buddies. They spend every day together during the offseason. They're godfathers to each other's daughters. Families are tight. Both on base for Meneses, who is one of the heroes of Mexico's win against Team USA in the 23 WBC. 2 home runs against the Americans.
He put on a show, and I believe benefited from it.
Yeah, got a chance with Washington. And Meneses trying to change this game here. Boyd delivers. Meneses couldn't lay off. He'd spent 12 seasons in the minor leagues before breaking through to the big leagues right before that WBC chance. And then 2 more years followed with Washington. Last year in AAA with New York. On an 0-1 from Boyd, Meneses takes a ball. Very pro Mexico crowd wanting to explode. Boyd's 1-1. Meneses hits a chopper up the middle. Turang had it skip by him into center field to make it 5-2. But some indecision from Turang there on how he wanted to approach that ball, and then it may have taken an odd hop as well. It scoots through, the inning continues, and the tying run comes up.
Yeah, it took a bad hop, I think, off the corner of the grass. It had such top spin and then made a turn away from him. Watch where he goes. He knows he's got it right here. He's got it right here. Everything's fine. And then see how the direction changes. And then he has to make a change last minute. Can't do it. And a bad bounce. Base hit keeps the Team Mexico and crowd going.
And one of the young studs on this team, Nacho Alvarez. Alvarez just 22 years old. Homered on Friday against Great Britain. The Atlanta Braves youngster representing the tying run. Takes the ball. It's 1-1.
Might take a double to score Kirk.
Takes his lead off second with Meneses at first. A lot of the crowd standing. Alvarez, a quick discussion with Adrian Johnson. Now, there's nothing doing against Paul Skeens. Just 1 hit over 4 innings. He struck out 7 over the first 5 innings. 3 total base runners for Benji Gill's team. 4 of the last 5, though, have reached the 1-1. Top of the zone, strike 2. And Johnson not making any friends on Mexico's side. The 1-2. Up the middle, Terrain gets to this one, catches it on the fly and ends the inning. But Mexico breathing. Jarren Duran gets them started with an opposite field home run. That made it 5-1. And they string them together with 2 outs. 5-2, middle 6. Welcome back to the 2026 World Baseball Classic on Fox, presented by Capital One. 5 runs for the U.S. in the 3rd, 2 runs for Mexico in the 6th, and a 5-2 score. As the top of the order gets ready to bat for Team USA, Bobby Witt's got a hit today, but the bigger story for him has been the defense with 2 of the finest plays you will ever see.
It's been amazing to watch this young man develop. As you mentioned, early in the WBC, he didn't get much action. He got to see everything, and now it's tough decisions for Mark DeRosa on who to play the shortstop and give equal time.
So Witt leads it off as Daniel Duarte comes on to pitch for Mexico, tries to keep it right here. Mexico getting back into the game with the 2 runs in the top of this inning. Duarte getting back to the big leagues, he hopes. Missed all of last season after having Tommy John surgery. Some time in the majors with the Reds and with the Twins. 2-0 on Witt. Duarte now 29 years of age. Facing Witt, Harper, and Judge here in the 6th. 2-1.
Witt has a pretty unique approach. He thinks about right center to pull. So he's thinking right center, and then if the ball is in a position to pull, he'll pull it. And it's really a great approach to stay back and not just be pull happy.
Runner up to Judge for MVP 2 years ago. Top 5 in MVP voting again last year for Bobby Witt Jr. Some called it a down year, but down just compared to the incredible bar that he had set the year before. Kind of year still that most guys would dream of having. Still just 25 years of age, headed into his 5th year in the majors, and he has transformed that Royals organization. Again, Kansas City competitive and on his back. A payoff from Duarte. Witt takes ball 4. He's got a leadoff walk.
You got a leadoff walk, and I know the guys that are coming up behind him, you would tend to see is to not let him steal a bag, but with his speed.
Harper coming up. Witt takes his lead. For more on Bobby Witt Jr., here's Kenny.
Well, Joe, Bobby Witt Jr. is a relatively young star in the game, but he has been an elite player for a long time. In fact, this double play combination, Bobby Witt Jr. and Bryce Terang, these guys were roommates at the 2017 Tournament of Stars. That was an elite development event for 18 and under players in Cary, North Carolina. Bobby Witt Jr. the next year was roommates with Pete Crow Armstrong with the 18 and under team that won the Pan Am gold medal in Panama.
And so you got some of these guys wearing the Team USA uniform for the first time. Guys like Witt, though, have done it at other levels, not just the 23 WBC that he was a part of. And like you, they all seem to come out of those experiences saying that those were some of their best, no matter the level. There he goes. Throw down from Kirk is not in time, and Bobby Witt's got a stolen base. 148 of those over his first 4 seasons in the big leagues.
Typically, you want to leave, when Harper's up, you want to leave that hole between first and second for the most part, but not when you have speed like Bobby Witt. And not when you can hit the ball in the air now. And if nothing else, move the runner over to third.
So 2 diving plays, a double, a walk, and a stolen base for Witt. And a 3-1 pitch to Bryce Harper. Out in front, 3-2. Harper's one of those guys that suited up for Team USA as a teenager. The Pan Am World Championships, 18 and under baseball. Swings and misses, strike 3. first out of the 6th. Then up comes Judge.
That's pretty good pitching against a great hitter. He outspeeded him on 3-1 and then fastball away on 3-2.
Duarte trying to do something nobody's done tonight, and that is retire Judge, who's gone single, homer, walk. We're at second, one away.
You know, it hasn't mattered yet, but runners in scoring position, and, you know, Mark DeRosa talked about it. It's just, we got to do a better job when we get those runners on and getting them in. They've done it with the home runs, but 1 for 7.
A bit off balance, flips this pop fly into shallow left center field. Caught by Ortiz, 2 out. You know, like you're saying, the kinds of games where you are not going to be able to get away with that lie ahead. Two gone in the 6th inning. There's some room for error opened up with the improvement in the quality of this pitching staff, though, which we've seen the last really 3 days, from Logan Webb in the first game to Skubal and then Skeens. Here's Thomas running down a fly ball off of the bat of Schwarber. Scored a 6 from Duarte. 5-2 to the late innings in Houston. All 5 runs for the U.S. came in the 3rd inning. 5-2 they lead to the top of the 7th, trying to go to 3-0, take command in Pool B. Matthew Boyd needed 32 pitches to get through the 6th inning. Faces Gonzalez for the bottom of the Mexico order here. A little bit different hitting weather for Team Mexico tonight than last night when they faced off with Brazil. All due respect, Paul Skeens is not Team Brazil. They had those 16 runs in 6 innings. Walk-off home run in the 6th inning for Team Mexico tonight. 2 runs on 5 hits. And 4 of those 5 hits came last inning. Gonzalez is 0 for 2. Is ahead 2-1. Mexico semifinalist in 2023, losing to Japan in the 9th inning, had a lead throughout that game. Fly ball right field for Aaron Judge. And the first out of the 7th. First beat USA in pool play. On the way to that semifinal. They've made noise throughout the WBC. Benji Gill was a player back in that 2006 season. He went to the quarterfinals, same as 2009. This is a roster with 6 All-Stars on it. So, yeah, it doesn't have the headliners necessarily that Team USA does. Doesn't have the win or bust expectations, but they carry their own expectations. And if you didn't know that, then listening to Benji Gill talk to Ken Rosenthal, you'd be convinced of it afterwards, talking about not if, but when we get to Miami, making plans for a return to the final 2 days of the Classic. Alec Thomas, 1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, and he knows, you know, this was going to be this type of game where it needed to be close, chance to win it like they've done the previous 3 times. But then they're going to have to take care of business in their next game if they don't come back and win this and feel pretty confident about moving forward.
Yeah, we'll put the pressure on. Loser of this game against Italy. USA faces them tomorrow. Mexico faces them on Wednesday in the final game of pool play. And Italy is no slouch. Thomas down on strikes, 2 gone in the 7th.
There's that change of speed breaking ball.
Boyd to the 9-hitter Joey Ortiz. To the back door with a strike. Just misses right there. Top of the order next. Part of the order that cashed in last inning. Boyd's 1-1 to Ortiz. Out in front of it.
Like I said, the ability to change speeds. He had a change up or a backdoor slider, then a fastball, and then a change up, and pull the string, press the gas, keep the hitter off balance.
The lefty that grew up in the Pacific Northwest, grew up in Mercer Island, Washington, wanting to be the next Randy Johnson. He has in common that he's a left-handed pitcher in the big leagues. But that's about the end of the comparison with the big unit. Another 1-2 pitch to Ortiz. It's downstairs. Boyd was actually born right-handed and was a right-hander as a kid playing baseball, but then he went to a game where they had a Ken Griffey Jr. giveaway glove. And he got it, and his dad said, hey, that's the one that Griffey, and that's the one that Randy Johnson uses, and so he made that his glove. Of course, you got to throw left-handed to wear that, and that's how he became a left-handed pitcher. Shot to right at Judge. A 1-2-3 seventh for Boyd after the long sixth. Then we stretch in Houston, 5-2 U.S. Our game summary is sponsored by Capital One, and if you saw the third inning, you saw it all for Team USA tonight. 2-run home run from Aaron Judge, 3-run home run from Roman Anthony. Team Mexico got its 2 runs in the 6th inning. Paul Skeens, though, 4 innings in his WBC debut, striking out 7, didn't give up a run. And the bullpen trying to carry it from there to get USA to 3-0. Joe Davis, John Smoltz, Ken Rosenthal back here at Daikin Park. Yeah, downtown Houston, Texas, home of the Astros. Gerardo Reyes is on to pitch for Mexico. 32-year-old, long career in Mexico and parts of 4 seasons in the big leagues. 5, 6, and 7 due up for the U.S. here. Bregman to lead things off. He's got to be back in the home clubhouse here, where he spent the first 9 years of his career. Went back here last season at Boston. It was, he said, odd for him to keep on going past the Houston clubhouse when they pull up to the visiting locker room. Takes ball 1 from Reyes. Doesn't matter where he is. I feel like more than any other player, you hear about him from his teammates. What an impact he makes behind the scenes. Everything he does on the field, obvious. But this is like another coach, like another manager to have inside the clubhouse.
It is, and that's why he's so revered in many ways, the influence he has and the impact he has on his teammates.
Pulls 1 to third. That is caught by Nacho Alvarez. One third baseman to another for the first out of the 7th.
Right on the button.
1 gone in the 7th. Cal Raleigh comes up 0 for 2 today. Did get hit by a pitch. Came in to score. And that 5-run third. What do you think? Can the Mariners push that boulder up the mountain again, getting that close to breaking through for the first time, and then the heartbreak? 2 times to win 1 game, 2 days to win 1 game, and couldn't pull it off. Raleigh sends this ball deep down the line towards the corner, but foul. It seemed like they were going to get it done. That epic Game 5 in Seattle. Raleigh had the home run to tie it, Eugenio Suarez had the grand slam to put him in front, and they were waiting for one more win.
I know. They
never got.
Truly, every series that we were fortunate to do was pretty epic. And
wow, what an October it was.
Be hard to top, but like to see it.
Let's try. Why don't we try? Dodgers, everybody's favorite in the National League. Do you have a favorite in the American League yet?
You know, there's some interesting moves that went on. Again, getting a chance to dive into it after spring training. I think the Tigers pitching staff's very, can they hit enough?
There's Griffey the photographer, by the way.
What's that?
Griffey the photographer.
Oh, yeah, Griffey. It's incredible what he's done.
Look out over there.
The American League's pretty wide open. It's going to be fun to see who emerges there. But yeah, I would say hands down the Los Angeles Dodgers are again the prohibitive favorites.
Raleigh's down on strikes, 2 gone in the 7th. The guy coming up here, Roman Anthony, you mentioned earlier, the Red Sox seems like improved, and they were right there down the stretch last year.
Yeah, I just think the maturation of their young players, a lot of them were rushed in with a, tag that can't miss type prospect, and, it doesn't always work that way. But, of course, they got to stay healthy and get some pitching depth. But, man, their lineup is going to be very intriguing in that division, especially with some of the younger players stepping up.
Doesn't it seem like the Devers move that was unthinkable was like years ago now?
I know.
That was just last June. They added Ranger Suarez to a 5-year contract. Starting pitching has been something that has held them back. You had Ranger Suarez to that rotation with Garrett Crochet. That is a scary 1-2 punch. Sonny Gray headed to Boston as well.
They just did a lot of. They did enough to make a difference. To chase down Toronto, to be there in the conversation with New York.
1-2 to Roman Anthony is fought off. Of course, though, as we talked about, Alex Bregman going to the Chicago Cubs. His presence, not just in the lineup, but what he meant for the clubhouse. All those young players you're talking about growing, though, would all point to things they learned from him. So his impact will be felt probably through those guys in the coming years. Reyes fires 2-2. It's just foul.
I'll tell you, Team Mexico. I mean, this game could have got away from them really quick after the 3rd inning, down 5-0, and they've done a great job. Their bullpen has come in and held this offense, and offensively, they're within a shot. Now with a couple more opportunities.
Top of the order coming up. Top of the 8th inning. Duran, Arozarena, Aranda, Kirk. Another 2-2 to Anthony. To second, and it scoots by Gonzalez. Anthony chugging around first will hang on.
Wow, you wonder if that ball knuckling on him. I mean, you don't see that very often. This ball's hit right at him. Had to have some kind of funky. Missed it.
That is an error on Gonzalez, and the inning kept alive for Byron Buxton. The tiny Bexley, Georgia, representing Team USA. Buxton said he had just gotten home from a trip to Disneyland when the phone rang. He was trying to wind down. A trip to Disneyland with the kids, that takes a minute to get over. But the phone rings, and it was Mark DeRosa. He's never played for Team USA, but took that call and said, man, I am in. You don't know what kind of day I just had. Seen those lines? Reyes steals. Buxton takes the ball. 2-1. Face of the Minnesota Twins. A lot of turnover there in recent years. Now turnover in the manager's seat. Buxton remains, though. Two and two. .32-year-old Gerardo Reyes. He's gone full on Buxton, trying to pitch around the air on his second baseman, Nick Gonzalez. We'll keep the scoreless relief work going since that 5-run third. Top of the order due up for Mexico. Head start coming at first for Anthony. There he goes, and a swing and a miss from Buxton. Scoreless inning for Reyes. On to the top of the 8th. The big hitters coming up for Mexico. Five in the third for the U.S. 2 in the 6th from Mexico. 5-2 to the 8th inning. Pitch, hit, and run is the free official MLB skills competition for baseball and softball players ages 7 to 14. You can host a local competition this year and give the kids a chance to make it to the national finals at the 2026 World Series. Visit pitchhitrun.com or scan the QR code. Here we go. Best chance for Mexico. Top of the 8th inning, top of the order. Duran leads it off. It was his home run that started the scoring and gave Mexico some life in that 2-run 6th. 2 for 3 today. Putting together a big tournament overall is Duran. Coming off a homer and a double yesterday. Sends a fly ball deep to right field. Duran's got his second bomb of the ball game. And it's a 2-run game in the 8th. One to left, one to right, 5-3. Arozarena. Oh, he tried to follow it with one of his own. Griffin Jacks warming for the U.S. 3 runs against Boyd. Randy taps it foul.
Team Mexico's like anybody that comes in that's not named Skeens, you feel like you got a decent chance. No disrespect to whoever comes in after, but that's their feeling because he was so nasty. You have a hard time getting the rhythm as a hitter when he struck out, what, 7 in 4 innings?
Yeah, just 1 base runner against him, or 1 hit against him, 1 walk as well. 1, 2, 3, 5th from Garrett Clevenger. Mexico, though, giving Boyd a hard time. Those 2 in the 6th and 1 in the 8th, refusing to just roll over. Boyd's 1-2 pitch. High on a Rosarena. They have tormented the U.S. in this tournament for decades. 3 consecutive wins over the USA. Two-run game. 2-2 pitch. Hit him. And the tying run comes up. Jonathan Aranda comes up, and how soon does Mark DeRosa pull the trigger on Griffin Jacks? It's Pettit, not DeRosa.
This will be his last hitter, more than likely.
Jarren Duran stirring this crowd back into the game with 2 home runs. He had 3 home runs against left-handers all of last year. 2 of them in his last 2 at-bats against Boyd. He's got half of the hit total for his team in this game. So Rosarena's on, Aranda's up, and Kirk's on deck. Team Mexico has just stomped the competition the first 2 games of this WBC. Outscoring their opponents 24-2. They knew that really both teams did. The WBC really began today at the exhibition tune-ups. First 2 games of pool play, pretty much an extension of that against Brazil and Great Britain. Real deal tonight. Jax is ready for Kirk. Aranda takes a strike from Boyd.
Yeah, I would think this is his left hitter, lefty on lefty, trying to get something on the ground.
Oh, 0-2. Got it on the ground, but foul. Aranda in the top 5 in the league in hits last year. Has 1 tonight. He's also drawn a walk. Has gone deep in this tournament to give Mexico the lead on Friday night against Great Britain in a game that was tight late. Not the biggest guy, but there's some pop in there. 14 home runs for Tampa Bay last year. On an 0-2 from Boyd. Check over to first on a Rosarena. Randy last year 31 stolen bases. Hard to hear. Aranda's down swinging. Got him to chase the slider for the first out of the 8th. And that'll be the last hitter for Matthew Boyd. Mark DeRosa will turn to Griffin Jacks. Alejandro Kirk coming to the plate as the tying run in the 8th. We're not just one former cadet to pitch in this game. How about a captain in the Air Force Reserves, a graduate of the Air Force Academy, and Griffin Jacks taking over a game that Paul Skeens started. First graduate of the Academy to make it to the big leagues, and Jacks has emerged as one of the tougher guys to hit in the league. He went from Minnesota to Tampa Bay last year. Great swing and miss stuff.
Yeah, he definitely can miss some barrels and swing and miss at almost half the times. 44%.
Alejandro Kirk's the hitter. Mexico scored 3 straight runs to get the tying run up there.
And he knows that if he can get Kirk good, really good high ball hitter, if he can get him to hit something down, he'll hit it on the ground, and it'll be a double play.
There's a double play that ended the World Series off of the bat of Kirk. Rosarena was hit by a pitch after the Duran home run, his second of the ball game. A 2-0. Ball 3. Meneses on deck. Out of the crowd again to its feet. Three and 1. Jacks to Kirk. In there for strike 2. Kirk was the best 2-strike hitter in the American League last year. Chopper left side, 6-4-3. Double play finishes off the 8th. Only thing better than a cadet pitching for Team USA is 2 of them in the same game, Kenny.
Joe, you said it. Griffin Jack's the first Air Force Academy graduate to reach the majors, and yet he regards his younger twin brothers, Parker and Carson, as his heroes. Parker and Carson followed him to the academy, and all 3 Jacks brothers met their wives at the academy as well. Now, today, Parker flies F-35s with his wife, Chandler. They've been to Korea, Japan, all over the world. Carson flies the C-5. That's the biggest plane in the Air Force fleet. Griffin remains in the reserves, and he helps the Air Force and the Academy with their recruiting.
Amazing stuff. Griffin Jacks, one of a kind, going from the Air Force Academy, graduating there, still involved, and making it to the big leagues and thriving. Like we said at the start of the game, all those guys from the academy here, the entire team, those guys are here on Paul Skeens and Griffin Jacks' dime. Robert Garcia checks into the game, buzzes the tower of Bryce Terang, ball 1. The U.S. with a 5-3 lead. All 5 runs coming in the 3rd inning. Garcia, the lefty of the Texas Rangers, fires 1-0. It's ball 2 on Terang. Looking ahead to the 9th inning. 5, 6, and 7 are due up. Meneses, Alvarez, Gonzalez. Garrett Whitlock is warming in the Team USA pen. Two and 2. Here's that double play that finished off the Mexico threat. Down goes full on Terang. Another extra base hit in this game for Bryce. Payoff pitch. And there'll be another. Nolan McLean will take the ball for Team USA tomorrow, and what they hope will be pretty much a formality to seal the deal. On a trip to the quarterfinal, wrap up the 1 seed with a win. It's back to Garcia, and an easy one over to first. It is not a sure thing, though, that they win this game and they're automatically the 1 seed. What we're talking about with all the tiebreakers, you could still have, if Italy were to beat Team Mexico, 3-1 team, or the other way around, you could have 3-1 teams if Italy were to win tomorrow's game. So you got McClain, one of the top pitching prospects in baseball, made his debut last year for the Mets. Still, by the way, has rookie status. Witt sends this one in the air down the right field line, so he's going to enter his 26th season as one of the leading candidates for National League Rookie of the Year. Standings as they are at this point for the outcome of this ball game, and then Italy to take on these two teams the next 2 days. And you think, Italy, baseball, what? Well, a lot of these guys are big leaguers that were born in the United States, have Italian heritage, and there's some big-time players on that team.
Yeah, I was asked at the end of my career, because my mom is full-blooded Italian, but didn't work out for my arm.
Were you considering playing for Team Italy?
I mean, I would have considered it just because of where I was, but I ultimately would have loved to prefer to play for Team USA. It's just age and broken down arm. And
yeah, but had you known the espresso machine was in the Italy dugout, maybe it would have tilted you, even with an offer from USA.
Yeah.
How about a cooler of Celsius?
That'll do it. But there are so many cool stories that come out of it, right? Just from the standpoint of...
Witt adds to his electric night into center field, trying to turn it into a double. Thomas's throw has no chance. Dives into second base.
Well, this guy is so fast and just has so much skill set that it makes it really tough on Mark DeRosa, having 2 great shortstops.
Well, when he called Gunnar Henderson and offered him a spot on the team, he was right up front with him. He said, Bobby Witt is our starter at short. And Henderson said, well, I'm going to force your hand at some point. Sure enough, he gives Henderson a start and he gets 4 hits. Harper fouls it off. I was like, geez, I can't not play Witt. And right after Henderson has the 4-hit game, Witt comes back and has a game like this. 2 doubles, 2 diving plays. Harper 1 for 4.
Another great angle for left-hander for Team Mexico. I mean, they're making it tough on some of these left-handed hitters. This time off the first base side of the rubber, really throwing across his body.
Strikes out Harper. And a guy who's vying for a high leverage role in the Texas bullpen, showing why.
Yeah, there's no reason to pitch to Aaron Judge.
And they won't, much to the dismay of this crowd. It's already seen him go deep in this ball game. But Reggie Gill says once is enough.
I tell you who loves it. The guy that's coming up to the plate.
Yeah, you think he's not thinking, okay, I'll show you. Pick your poison, though, if you're Benji Gill. The home run monster, historic home run hitter, and Aaron Judge. About the home run champ and Kyle Schwarber. Guys that hit more home runs than anybody in baseball the last decade. First one to Schwarber, in for a strike. "23 of those 56 home runs that Schwarber had last year to lead the National League were against left-handed pitchers. That's an all-time Major League record, lefty-lefty.
Oh, man.
Tried.
He may not get another one of those. This has got to sweep away from him right here if you're Garcia.
Two on, two out. 0-2 pitch.
Yeah, that was the pitch he had to throw. Man, you want to be a little bit more competitive on the plate. He may back that up again and see if he can get it closer to the plate. But if nothing else, it's changed the eye level of the previous pitch.
To second. This time Gonzalez sure-handed, throws him out. It ends the 8th. So the last chance for Team Mexico to the 9th inning. They've got 5, 6, and 7. Meneses, Nacho, Gonzalez coming up. Garrett Whitlock, his first appearance of this World Baseball Classic, looking for the save. A 5-3 lead for USA as we move along to the 9th inning.
And he is nasty. And you just hope for his first appearance here. All the spring training work he's put into this, he's able to seal the deal for Team USA.
Joey Meneses leads off. Had a base hit off of the bench. Knocked in a run in the 6th. And fouls off the first one. For Meneses, then Nacho Alvarez and Nick Gonzalez. U.S. got 5 runs in the 3rd inning. Homers from Judge and Anthony providing the scoring. Left a ton of runners on base, keeping Mexico in this game. Quickly 0-2 on Meneses.
Yeah, and again, to say it one more time, Team USA, if they win this game, they're going to have to do a better job with runners in scoring position. And give Team Mexico all the credit in the world for keeping this game close. 5-0 in the 3rd. And now a base runner on from tying the game, or the tying run coming to the plate.
Down the line and a fair ball. He swats an 0-2 pitch into the right field corner and has a leadoff single to get the tying run to the plate just like that.
I mean, he just, ball got deep, he put it in play and put it right past Harper.
And a pinch hitter coming up. Instead of Nacho Alvarez, Alejandro Osuna, 23-year-old Texas Ranger. Osuna fouls it off, not scared one bit coming off of the bench. The youngster, the younger brother of the former All-Star closer in the major leagues, Roberto Osuna. 2 home runs in his handful of games with the Rangers last year. Pop-up, foul ground. Bregman's over. And out of room, strike 2. 0 for 2 so far in the World Baseball Classic. It's another pinch hitter on deck. Julian Ornelas, who finished off yesterday's game with a 6th inning mercy rule walk-off. Swing and a miss. Whitlock makes quick work of the pinch hitter for the first out.
Fastball above the zone. Actually, for these teams, both of these teams are going to benefit, I think, from a game like this. I mean, the first 2 are non-competitive. This is going to only help as they navigate if both are able to keep going.
Yeah, they went from 0 to 100 real quick here. Brazil and Great Britain, walks in the park, but the intensity of this matchup, Ornelas fouls it off. Ornelas has played his entire career in Mexico. He's a perennial all-star there. He plays for Benji Gill in the Mexican Winter League. Led them to the championship this winter. Was the MVP of the finals. And now representing his country. Representing the tying run, but down 0-2.
There's been nothing but strikes, hasn't it?
Since that base hit, yeah. Immaculate 8 pitches. There's a ball, 1-2. Had to say something, huh?
Yeah, he had to mix it up a little bit.
It's 5-0 USA. Mexico has chipped away, 2 in the 6th, 1 in the 8th. 1-2 pitch comes home and misses down and in. Ornelas pinch hitting for Gonzalez. Alec Thomas, the on deck hitter. Fouled it off. Garrett Whitlock came back from elbow surgery last year. .225 out of the Red Sox bullpen. Sub-1 ERA down the stretch. Nobody was better in the American League the last couple months. He's home with a 2-2. He strikes him out. 2 gone in the 9th. And it's up to Alec Thomas.
Tight breaker down to the back foot to the left-hander is kryptonite.
All right, talking about those big swings that Thomas had for Arizona in the pennant run in 2023. 1 ball and no strikes. Tonight he's 0 for 3, 3 strikeouts. One ball, 1 strike. There goes the runner from first. Into the glove, strike 2. So Meneses into second. Mexico down to its last strike. Almost hit him on a 2-strike pitch. The 9-hitter Ortiz due next. And he started getting into danger zone with the top of the order in Jarren Duran. Boy, how much would Mexico like to get him back to the plate? Two. Ground ball up the middle. Terang stabs it, throws. Game over. U.S. hangs on 5-3 and stays perfect in the 26th WBC. Paul Skeens, 4 innings in his World Baseball Classic debut. And for the first time in 20 years since the first WBC, USA has a win against Mexico.
Great defense. 1 inning of runs. Got it done for Team USA tonight.
And they move to 3-0. Pole position in Pool B. Try to finish off the 1 seed. And an advancement into the knockout stage with a win against Team Italy tomorrow. It'll be Nolan McLean, the Mets rookie, one of the top pitching prospects in baseball, taking it from Mark DeRosa tomorrow. 5-3 the final score. We're going to take a break. Be back to Houston to wrap things up after this. The United States hangs on 5-3, a win over Mexico. And moments ago, Ken Rosenthal with a couple of the stars of the show.
All right, we're here with 2 of the heroes, Aaron Judge and Bobby Witt Jr. Aaron, we'll start with you. This game had a special level of intensity. After your 2-run homer in the 3rd, you flipped your bat, shouted into the dugout. How different was the level of emotion you were experiencing tonight?
It's playoff baseball in March. You know, that's what it's all about. It's a little March Madness here, and I love it. The fans came with it today. This was a fun atmosphere, exciting atmosphere. The boys were ready to go. You got Paul Skeens on the mound who was doing his thing, and when Mexico started getting going there, this place got pretty rowdy, but the boys stayed locked in and delivered a win.
All right, you also made a terrific throw tonight, but the defensive hero was this guy, Mr. Witt. Watching him make those 2 diving plays, Aaron, what were you thinking?
It's just special. He's the reason why he's one of the best players in the game, if not the best player in the game. It's just consistently day in and day out. He does it on both sides of the ball, and he makes plays like that win you a ball game. There's only maybe 1 or 2 individuals in the game that can do that, and he's one of them.
Aaron, thanks very much. Bobby, those 2 plays you made tonight, you've made a lot of great plays in the major leagues at shortstop. How would you rate the degree of difficulty on each of those?
I don't know. They just kind of happen. Those are the ones that are fun. You just go out there and try to make plays. Skeen sat with me on the bus. I said, I got your 6 tonight, whatever happens. But then there it was. And so it was awesome just seeing this guy do what he does and seeing the team just how everyone's bought into just winning. 2023, you didn't play much, and now you're playing a significant role on this team. What is it like for you being in the middle of the action like this after what happened in 23? Yeah, this is special. We're just trying to go out there, win 1 game at a time, win whatever it is, 7 games, and go out there and enjoy it each and every day.
Bobby, congratulations. Thanks. Guys.
All right, Kenny, 5-3, the final score. 5 runs on 8 hits for the U.S. tonight, 3 runs on 7 hits for Mexico. A little more like everybody kind of expected it would be with Team USA tonight, riding the long ball to this win. They had the walks, but it was the home runs that produced the runs. And it was Paul Skeens as advertised. 7 strikeouts over 4 scoreless innings and a win in his WBC debut. For John and Ken and our entire crew, Joe Davis saying so long from Houston. Talk to you again tomorrow night. U.S. against Italy.